Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game My Dear Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Pitch for Switch video. And this I'm going to be talking about the Legacy of Kain series, which is Blood Omen, Soul Reaver, and Defiance. And like all the games in those subcategories, I really want to see this series as a whole come to the Switch. From the original Blood Omen to the second game to the original Soul Reaver to the second game in that and to the Defiance game. I think there was only one Defiance game. I don't think there were two. Because it's just like this really amazing story to a really good game series. And there's a lot of lore and interesting stuff in it that I think a newer generation could really appreciate. And I would really love for all the games to have their original play styles. So I believe the original Blood Omen was the top down perspective. I've never actually played it, which is sad because it's sad because it's hard to come by. I think that game is pretty hard to come by on PC, and you can't really get. You kind of have to have a PC that's like older, that's built to play it, or run like a virtual machine in order to play it. Because it doesn't run natively on any of the current Windows platforms, I believe. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think it does. So it would be nice to see that game come back and let people get to play that. Me personally, I really want to play that one. Then there's Blood Omen 2, which was on multiple different platforms, and I think you can get a copy of it on PC now that will play pretty decently. Then there was Soul Reaver, which was, again, that was another one that was on multiple platforms. And Soul Reaver 2, which was also on multiple platforms. Even though Blood Omen 2 came out after the first Soul Reaver. And I think Blood Omen 2 and Soul Reaver 2 kind of released around the same time. I mean, they weren't right on top of each other, but they weren't too far apart as far as I remember. And then Defiance, I believe, came out early to mid 7th generation. I could be wrong. Like I haven't played that one. I just know that it exists. So I've really only played like the middle 3 games of the series. I haven't played the first one or the last one, unfortunately. So for somebody like me, this would be something that would be perfect. I do think, like I said, even though I want the games to all retain their original play styles, I do believe that they could use some tweaking, especially Blood Omen 2, I mean. It could use a little bit of tweaking as far as tightening the controls up and stuff. Like not anything really major, but just something to kind of like outside of just graphical improvements and stuff like that. Like the voice acting in that game was actually pretty decent. I don't think it was the voice acting that was really the problem. I think some of the character animations might need to be tightened up and stuff like that, but that's something I would kind of expect them to do anyway if they're like remastering the series. So like that would just be that's kind of like par for the course to kind of fix that stuff up. But yeah, the Legacy of Kain series, I don't really think the voice acting has ever been bad for this series. So I can't really say, oh, you need to fix the voice acting. Like no, I think it's actually been pretty decent from my recollection of it. Like I just think this is one of those games where one of those series would be really awesome to go ahead and take it and like put it out on, like bring it up, make it updated for today. Like, and honestly, if they did this for the Switch, it'd be the first time this series is on the Nintendo platform, I believe. I mean, I could be wrong unless the first Legacy of Kain was on the Nintendo platform, but I don't think it was. I don't think Blood Omen was on was on a Nintendo platform. I might be wrong. Like, don't quote me as being correct on that. I thought it was a PC only game though. So, like I said, I could be wrong. To me, I think it would be pretty cool. Like I said several times already. And a newer generation of gamers could get to appreciate the Legacy of Kain series, and we might actually get more games out of it if it did well enough. So, I personally just want to see it happen. Just update the graphics of the games. Obviously, they're going to have to fix up some of the animations, tighten up the controls on the games a bit. Put them out as a collection. Honestly, see, this is where I think when it comes down to remastering old games, unless the game was extremely big, and I mean, though Legacy of Kain series games are all kind of hefty on hours, they're not like massively huge unless you spend your time 100%ing each game. And that could take some time, because I know, like, especially with a Soul Reaver, I think with the first Soul Reaver that could take a while. Second one, not so much, because that game is way easier than the first one by comparison. But at least it was for me. I don't know, maybe for somebody else it was the flip, but for me it was Soul Reaver 2 was definitely way easier than Soul Reaver, but. Let me not get sidetracked. I just think it would be a nice touch to do. Like, yeah, when you remaster older games, like from generations 6 down, go ahead and just like do them as collections instead of doing them separately. Like, that would be in my opinion, the best thing to do. Even though I think, like I said, I think one of the games in this series is actually a 7th gen game, but it's 7th gen at this point, so and Nintendo is technically in 9th gen with the Switch. So for them, it would be fine to go 7th down and do a whole set. Don't know how Microsoft and Sony's next platforms are going to fare just yet, but we'll see. Is there anything else I could really say? I mean, outside of the geeky stuff that I personally like, you know, with like concept arts and all that stuff, and like behind the scenes stuff being on the game, being unlockable if you do certain things, I don't really have much else to add. And like, and all these are great single player adventures. So I want to see, like, I just like to see them updated and brought up to a newer generation and let people be able to play them that haven't had a chance to, or if you were a fan of the series but you didn't get to play all of the games, an opportunity could be made for you to be able to do so. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, please enjoy your games and peace out. And I'm sorry I rambled.